Hey, and welcome to another episode of Loaded Dice. I'm here with some wonderful people who are interviewing me with Halloween. Halloween, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Beckett. I'm doing amazing.
Fantastic. I'm also joined by Killjoy.
Hi, I run a channel called Avengers and Omdalier, and I'm also on the Cantrip Collective, where I write modules for Diesel.
Fantastic. Love to see it. And of course, I'm joined by my very good friend, FPS Diesel. FPS Diesel, how you doing, buddy?
I'm unemployed.
That's like untrue. You run a business.
That is, yeah. Well, I wanted to.
We
gotta
you what?
we gotta shorten our intro to just saying our name and not saying our full job and title and description, KJ.
Well-
Oh my god, you told me to shill my shit. So what do you want
This is
from
your
me?
idea.
Well, I know nothing about that because this isn't my podcast, but I'm really glad to be here today to talk about Dungeons and Dragons and TTRPG stuff.
Well,
really
it's
exciting.
even-
Thanks for having me, guys.
No problem. We joke about this every time.
we do. But it's even better because today we're not talking about Dungeons and Dragons. We brought on our favorite DM, well, at least my favorite DM. Sorry, Killjoy, you've been demoted today. Because we're talking about two very important systems that he ran for us. Call of Cthulhu and Vampire the Masquerade.
Yep, brilliant systems that I
yeah.
loved running. Well, I love. Okay, yeah. I mean, where do you want to start? Because I mean, I think both of these systems are really interesting for very different reasons. But I think they're very different to D&D actually.
They are.
So-
they are, and that's
so I
definitely what
haven't-
makes it.
I haven't been able to play Vampire the Masquerade, so I'd love an elevator pitch just to hear what Beckett would tell a new person trying to get into Vampire the Masquerade as a hobby. I know a little bit about it. I know enough to know that it has basically a whole vocabulary that you have to learn to kind of get into it.
Mm-hmm.
And
So do you like dark, terrifying adventures?
Absolutely.
Do you like horror and intrigue and detailed combat?
Absolutely, my favorite kind of D&D.
Okay, you will hate Vampire the Masquerade because what Vampire the Masquerade is at its core is have you ever played do you like reality TV?
God,
my
it is
God.
totally
A few
like
episodes.
reality TV.
Because that's what the Vampire Masquerade
That's
actually
so
is.
funny.
And people have this impression because of the video game, because of the memes around it, because Malkavians are pranksters and crazy. Now, Vampire the Masquerade is a life simulator TTRPG. So
Mhm.
it is vastly different to things like D&D. In fact, combat is basically impossible to run. Unironically, it is. you literally run it as kind of scenes where all of you roll dice and then you just sort of describe what happens. You just none of this turn-based shit. It's on the fucking editions. So essentially, what Vampire the Masquerade is you have a character, they exist in a world, and you are navigating social situations. It's an incredibly heavy RPG system. That is the entire point of it. That you will have an entire session just working out where you live and who you're friends with.
That is a lot. That's as much
It's
as I
great.
expected and read about. So you mentioned Malkavian. I've heard that there are clans and bloodlines, and then there's that one other thing where it's like a magic system that exists.
Yeah, so this is all part of a wider kind of series of games. Like there's the werewolf games, there's the wizard mage games, all exist in this sort of shared universe within their own systems. And
That overarching systems World of Darkness, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So what's a good way to sort of explain how half this shit works? Let's just start with the clans. There are several vampire clans. These are all descended from the antediluvians, who were God, I'll just lore dump, I guess. In the beginning, there was Cain. Cain killed Abel. God wasn't very happy about this, so God was like, "Hey, Cain, you need to be punished. How would you like to be an immortal monster of the night with superpowers?" And Cain was like, "Well, that will suck." He's like, "Haha, joke's on you. You're an immortal super being." Which seems great, but the actual curse is, I swear, so this is basically the law, is the actual curse is Cain's immortal, but because he's being punished for the crime of murdering his brother, his childer, like anything he sires, will ultimately always keep killing each other. That's why the vampire society is so like political and fragmented, because the part of the curse of vampirism is like hating each other. So Cain sires 3 vampires. He also like has a wife with called Lilith. But he sires 3 vampires who are like the first generation or second generation, whichever it is. They all build a city, and they sire like I think it's 13 other vampires. Now these 13 other vampires are the antediluvians. They murder their sires, and these kind of like antediluvians are where all the other clans come from.
They like mostly murder all the other ones. There are still a couple kicking, no?
No, the originals are all dead. The like first
shit.
3. The first 3 are all dead. And then the antediluvians are, there are some of them still around. Most of them are still around, in fact. Like it's a bit weird. There's a lot of lore tied into this. So like sometimes a couple of them have been diablerized. The Malkavian antediluvian is kind of dead or kind of part of the Madness Network. It's a little hard to say. Other clans have sort of usurped them. The Tremere, which are like the wizard vampires who do like blood magic, sort of stolen antediluvian. It's all a bit weird. But yes, basically, those are the origin points. I think I'm right in 13. I'm probably going to get corrected on this. It's going to be like, no, it's actually like 11 or 12. I can't remember.
Well, for
So
another vocabulary word, to be diablerized is when another vampire eats
it's when you
another,
eat
right?
another.
Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was heavily frowned upon.
Yes.
Don't do that. It's bad. Basically,
It is. You would get hunted, blood hunted and stuff. Yeah.
There's a couple of clans that are like really into it, like the Assassin clan, which I think they're Shoot.
Is that the one that Mishi played?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They diablerize. And also the Tremere, which is I think the clan you played, wasn't it? You were a Tremere.
No, that was the one that Kat played. I played as Zamishi.
Oh yeah, no, I am sorry, getting them mixed up. Yeah, so Zamichi diablerize as well. But like the Sabat generally are pretty pro diablerizing things to get stronger. As with all things, it's a bit weird now. Like the current edition is kind of like in the same way that D&D got sort of like made more friendly in current edition because they want more people to play it. Yeah. Current edition of Vampire did very similar things. Like all the elders are kind of off fighting like the end of the world war in Gehenna in the Middle East. Because it's like we're in the end times basically in current setting.
Yeah.
So yeah. The some of the antediluvians are like waking up, everyone's like cooling, like if you're old enough, if your blood's like strong enough, depends what like generation of vampire you are, you can like hear the call of the blood. So yeah, that's sort of like a very broad brush approach to like the lore and everything. But essentially you are a vampire in vampire society trying to survive and become more powerful. That's like the main thing. There are like interesting quirks. So you know how like if it has a stat sheet, you can kill it kind of thing?
Yeah.
There is actually a stat sheet for Cain in the books, which is just like you die.
It's like the yeah.
It's literally like you're dead. Congrats.
He shows up when players are getting too confident and knocks them down a peg, kind of thing.
Well, isn't that what you have vampire hunters for? Because they don't fuck around either, right?
So yeah, when I like ran for you guys, like it depends on the Vampire Hunter. So I very intentionally pitched you against, because when I ran the game for you guys, you were all older.
Yeah,
'cause
we
I
were
thought that'd be
elders. And it was cool.
I thought it'd be fun to throw you into a game where basically like all the other elders are gone and you're just a group of misfit elders who like haven't been kind of cooled. But in that case, I threw you against mages and things, who are like mages within World of Darkness. Obviously, like there's varying levels of strength, but in the same way in like D&D, wizards get to the point of just being like, "Oh, we're just gonna break reality now." That's what mages in World of Darkness are like. So they're horrific.
Yeah.
To deal with. And yeah, vampire hunters are obviously specialized in killing vampires, so they're gonna be a problem. Werewolves as well. Werewolves are really
We
problematic
never
to
ran
deal
into
with.
one of those.
Yeah.
No.
I've heard that werewolves.
But I mean,
just
we could.
body you.
I'm just saying, we could. You could throw me.
Yeah,
that was my secret plan. I pulled him onto the podcast. I got him talking about it, all to segue back into him running games for us.
Well,
which is, I was gonna say, which is a great segue for you guys to just talk about the campaign you guys ran.
I've
heard
before we
nothing
even
but
do
good
that,
things.
Well,
I
Diesel
really
just
want to
played
get
himself,
in.
so...
Well, no, I did not. Well, we will get. Okay, well, are we gonna get? Let's get into it. Let's get into
Let's get
it.
into it. Diesel played himself.
Sure, let's get into it.
He
See,
played-
it's interesting as well. So what I will say is, like, yeah, we can talk about a campaign and things because I think it was really fun. But it's almost funny to start with it because talking about like Vampire the Masquerade and Cthulhu, all the kind of like many of the things I described to begin with, where I'm like, do you like horror? Do you like sort of intense encounters? Do you like decent risk? Do you like potentials of like actually sometimes really solid combat? Is like I think
actually what cock is, right?
Yeah, so like I would actually argue and have argued before that Call of Cthulhu is the best tabletop system. It is an incredible system, and not enough people play it or realize how good it is. So we can do that, but I want to pin that we need to talk about Call of Cthulhu because it is just a masterpiece.
Absolutely.
My only experience with Call of Cthulhu is like its grandchild, Delta Green.
Oh, you would love Delta Green, Beckett.
Oh, I don't think I've seen Delta Green.
It's Call of Cthulhu, but modern
X-Files.
and like X-Files.
I'm
Maybe Diesel can run a game for you.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that I haven't had you in one of those games because I really love running Delta Green. It's probably like my favorite.
Well, when we finish Cyberpunk, we can pick up a Delta Green campaign and invite Beckett on.
That's it. You have been kind of prodding me with a little stick to do Delta Green recently.
I have. Honestly, that's not really like intentional. It's just I found stuff that I know would inspire you to run a game.
I'm definitely. I've been thinking about the Cyberpunk campaign more to try and like work on it, but then I've definitely also I have like some serious fucking fatigue from it. But I also run so many games during the week that like I fatigue really easily because I'm constantly like flexing that muscle. Oh, my steak is too buttery complaint. Oh, he has to play D&D for his job. Oh, sorry. I know. God.
And the horror.
So funny.
Let's talk about the... I do want to talk about like the culture around Vampire the Masquerade, but we can talk about the campaign first. There's so much because I've had I've had many an interaction with the culture TM since like opening up a game store, and it is very funny.
I can't imagine.
But we can. I mean, yeah. Let's talk about the campaign first. We basically played all of our idealized selves. It was really cringe.
That's part of the culture, though. No.
I feel like that's not cringe. That's just everything I've heard about this game.
Okay. Well, Beckett, on a scale of 1 to I'm wrangling Diesel from being his worst self, how bad was I?
You weren't that bad. I think that
oh, we're gonna find out who made it.
I can't say this. Who's the
It's okay. No one else watches the podcast. You can just We talk about Cat
mute
all
it.
the time.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah,
like the
bleep the
honorary.
name.
I think I mean I enjoyed running for all of you guys. I think there's a big thing with confidence with experimenting with the way that I DM. I don't know if this is a thing for the system or just how I DM, because I'm a very shenanigans player. So you need to be as creative as possible because I'm a shenanigans DM. So like I will always respect something that's like out of the box, but often I see I've had the opposite problem of some DMs where a lot of people are like, oh, you know, I work really hard and the like table I run is like just really dumb and they'll make stupid mistakes. I have the opposite problem. I will put together the most batshit sort of scenarios and then dealing with players who will approach things in the most logical way possible. And I'm not really prepped for that, so it ends up biting them. And I'm like, no, you know.
It sounds like I
You
need
would
to play
love running
D&D
a
with
game for
Beckett.
Killjoy.
I literally Hal and Diesel and Cat made fun of me because every turn I had,
Yeah.
I was like, I have a dumb idea.
Yeah, he is the dumb idea guy, TM.
So you're saying we were too normal for you during the Vampire the Masquerade? Is that
I
what
just,
I'm hearing?
I just crazy things up. I have a flesh wall. Let me do it. Let me do
I have a flesh wall.
My entire character was being a whore. Like,
I mean, it
Oh my
Your
god.
entire
how
character
you guys-
became a politician.
Yeah,
That's
it's
true.
interesting watching how much you guys sort of embraced certain elements where it was like, okay, we can go and explore this like underground facility. Okay, but can I just add children to my flesh wall? I mean, we can. You can do that, sure.
I didn't add any children to the flesh wall. I adopted demon kids.
It's true.
Oh my god.
You really wanted the
All right.
demon kids. That is true.
Honestly,
I imagine
Diesel wanted the demon kids, and you were like, I mean, the Zamishi would be okay with running it. I was like, okay.
Yeah, the Zamishi would definitely be okay. The other vampire clans would not. They'd be like, yeah, sure, that's useful.
Why not?
Yeah, I think the campaign was an interesting one, right? It was yeah, I mean, Kat started a cult. Mishi wanted to assassinate people. I was never harsh on you guys with your compulsions. So one of the systems within Vampire is compulsions, and it has been watered down a lot in current edition. But it used to be like really harsh. Which is like each clan will have sort of a flaw and a compulsion. Where it's things like for the assassin clan, they're like really justicey. So they're like, if someone's breaking the law, we need to kill them.
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter what the law is. It's just like you follow the law.
I remember reading Nosferatu have to like seek secrets and
yeah,
compelled.
they need to gather information and things that no one else knows.
Killjoy's building his character.
this is back to Kane being like, I hate all of you suck. Here I'm cursing all of you.
Well, it's it's basically when the antediluvians turned on the first generation that Kane had sired and killed all of them in the first city. That's when they all kind of got their compulsions and punishments. There is like interesting things there of like some clans may not have been like as murdery and therefore don't have compulsions that are as bad. So it's like the Tremere, for example, are like the beautiful vampires. They kind of embody this kind of the beautiful monster, really, very seductive.
I thought that was the Toreador.
It is the Toreador. Sorry, I'm going crazy.
I got you.
There are way too many clans.
There are
that
so
begin
many
with T.
clans.
It's
The only
not-
reason I can keep up is because when we started running, I did the thing that Killjoy did before the podcast and
actually went to
absorbed.
chat. Yeah, no.
Like, I just needed to have enough questions to be the guy in the room to ask the dumb question.
You're fine. So yeah, it's with the Toreador. They're like one of their compulsions is that they will become obsessed with beautiful things. Now this can be a person, for example. So a lot of the people who like get sired or eaten are people like a Toreador's like, I really like this person, and you basically get turned into a weird stalker. Or it can be things like, as the book states, it's like, you can become obsessed with the idea of a sunset, and you'll end up killing yourself just by watching a sunset, because they'll just like stand there and like let themselves be set on fire because of the compulsion. So like I think there's a lot of balancing there with kind of the way your character works, but also it's because it's not the same as D&D. You're not just like a character that you're adventuring with and you're like running a couple of games. Like my impression of, we're talking about the community, is most people will have a Vampire the Masquerade character that they will have been playing for the last like 5 years. And it will be like an extension of themselves. It's like, you know, become like kind of attached to it. And I've seen some very cringy posting of people posting as their character in forums, where they're like bears fangs that roar. It's like, yeah, it's like sure.
No.
Well, that's what I found very interesting being a tabletop store owner, right? Is that I have had a few customers over the time come in and ask me like, "Oh, you're gonna stock Vampire the Masquerade?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I would really like to get that." There's obviously a lot of logistical reasons why I don't have that in the store currently, so it's not like the cringe factor. But usually the way people describe it is that like I have a vampire OC. I play my vampire OC. I will not do anything else but be that vampire that I have had since I was 16. I am currently 35.
That's
and
crazy.
It's like the vampire is like the exact kind of thing that you would think a 16-year-old would make of a vampire.
You know,
and that's what everybody in the community is like.
I have
and everybody who plays vampire is like the worst thespian you've ever seen. Like everybody's a theater kid who likes Vampire the Masquerade. It has the most amount of LARPs I have ever seen. It is insane how many LARPs exist for Vampire the Masquerade.
Yeah, I think it leans to that. But I mean, like I think as tabletop players, we all do this to some extent. Like it's interesting, like my old DM, we've been playing with him for like 2 years. And then we met the head of the Adventurers Guild. This was a D&D campaign. And it was him. It was his character that he'd had from a previous campaign. And it was like, holy shit. And it was like, obviously like level 20. And it was like his ideal character. And I can't be too mad because I do this as well. And I will happily admit to this because I ended up being a bit of a forever DM for a while. I was like, well, I still want a character that is like my character. That I can kind of insert into things, which is very much where the Yellow King meme came from. Because both Sebastian and me sort of throwing the Yellow King a lot into Call of Cthulhu is both a character who's ginger and in a yellow suit. That's a very common...
I never picked up that the Yellow King was you.
For reference, Beckett is on camera right now, and he's dressed like the Yellow Hat Man from Curious George, and he is ginger.
I really like that as a meme, because it's fun, and I like throwing Sebastian into games, and it lines up. But like but Sebastian as like a character, I guess, kind of started as Hasta. In Call of Cthulhu, so there's definitely cool crossover there.
Yeah,
it's just like works because I mean, I needed like a human character that I could kind of like throw around. Because I never play human characters in D&D. I'm constantly trying to play a changeling or a
fox,
warforged, or a fox. It's weird how many games I've played where I am like an intelligent animal, because it's like 3. I don't know if you guys know this. I've played a fox in one of your games.
Yeah.
I played a fey fox in another person's game where I was literally like a young version of like a 9-tailed fox where I only had like one foxtail. And I also played a sentient cat that was a warlock for a while.
That's what Cat's gonna play in the Fey game.
Yeah. So I've played quite a few like intelligent animals over the years.
This is how we found out you're a furry.
I was gonna say
the joke. Everyone was sprinting that joke, and I got the finish line.
I got it before you all. It's my joke. we touched on it again, so maybe we talk about Call of Cthulhu now.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
So it's another game that Beckett ran. Another brilliant masterpiece before he dropped off the face of the earth, never to see him again.
It's been really busy. Call of Cthulhu is the best system. And Call of Cthulhu, actually, if you want to get somebody into tabletop gaming, Call of Cthulhu is certainly the best system because it's so simple. Everything's a D100. It's so simple. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Basically, I think it's been described by somebody else. I think by Puffin Forest described it as like it's super easy. Characters are paper thin and die just as easily. Like you can create a new Call of Cthulhu character in 2 seconds. It's almost like it's almost like the complete opposite of Vampire the Masquerade.
Yeah.
Like quite often what will happen in games is if your entire group will die, and that will be the jumping off point for the next session where either you take over NPC characters that are already there, or like Puffin Forest was saying, like he ran one where like everything went wrong, the entire party like died in a house fire. So the next group was the next like session was the party with new characters turning up to try and find out what had happened to the last party. And it's so fantastically easy to drop people in. There's like basically no leveling. There's like a little bit of like, oh, congratulations, you survived the horror. Have like a slight stat increase, but generally speaking, it's just like throw them in and go. And it's like all just like set people in a mansion, or you set somebody in a town, or whatever. It's fantastic. I think I did a Christmas game where it was like an Orient Express murder mystery. Using the system, it's so versatile. It's crazy.
From what I've ran, people, I think Diesel told me, I ran the Evil Dead house in Delta Green, and it works really well for that kind of like system where you show up, investigate, everything starts going wrong. It plays out like that kind of thing, and the things I've learned from playing a similar system is to play it properly, you need to be playing with people who are okay with not succeeding. Because one of the things I've experienced is people get really frustrated that they're failing at these things rather than just letting the dice decide whether or not they win or lose.
Yeah.
And I think that's a D&D ism that's carried over.
Yeah, I think the trick is to like getting people into this system is you need to kill them early and often, and really break that attachment. But I've had some great games with this, with people who were just really leaned into it. Like one person, I had somebody playing a trans character in the 1800s, and the rest of the party turned on. Like we're all friends, but I think this happened on stream. I think this was a Twitch thing where they all turned on. Like, and again, I should be clear: the 3 people in this group were trans women, and one of them decided to play a trans character, and all the other characters turned on them, and they were like, "It's the 1800s. We clearly need to lobotomize you."
The same thing
You're a
happened.
degenerate monster. We need to I'm sorry, it's just a time period. I was just like, sure, fuck it, whatever.
Well, not the same, but a similar thing happened in Killjoy's Delta Green game, because we were playing like in the like 70s or 80s or 50s. We're playing like somewhere. I was playing a woman, and the entire party was sexist.
They just
it was
started
so funny.
taking shots. She started making sandwiches. It was crazy.
We actually.
I was like, okay, let's dial it back.
But I think that works really well in some respects. Like actually, we had like one of my friends who's black was playing a detective. And he was like describing himself, and he was like, and obviously I'm black. And I was like, okay, so it's like the 1920s, the 1910s or whatever. You're a black detective. And he went, yes. I'm like, that might be problematic for you. He's like, I know. And he's like fully leading into this shit.
That's wild. He gets his own mystery.
You've got to be able to like have fun like that in TTRPGs, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I like that the alt history aspect of Call of Cthulhu. That I ran a game that takes place a year before the Great Depression in my store. It was like a one shot, and it was like this guy makes a pact with a genie. The genie's obviously like a horrible eldritch monster, right? But like it turns out that one of the players in the group is always going to be related to the guy who makes a pact with the genie. So that player can turn on a party, kill everyone, and then get untold riches. But then, like, the cosmic joke of it all is that it doesn't matter anyway, because he's going to
Just in a
lose all of his
year,
money in
yeah.
a year. And someone at
That's
the
so
table
funny.
was like, doesn't this happen next year? And I was like, yep. And that's like a really fun aspect to Call of Cthulhu. It's like this ability to like talk about these really awful times in history, but then also like have a laugh about it and the conversation still be like constructive and not horribly offensive.
Yeah, I think as well, it's surprising with this system how often little bits of knowledge or like even skills are really useful. So like again, like one game I ran, everyone specced into I want to know about occult stuff. I want to know about this stuff. I want to know, I want to, I want to be a archaeologist. And then I had two players, one of whom just played a sex worker, and the other one who played like a mechanic. He was like an engineer. So he didn't know anything about like the occult. He had no fucking interest in it. He knew about cars and he knew about cranes and he knew about trains. And all the way through this session, the entire party, other than this one guy, is driving themselves insane. They're like, I need to go and look at the Eldritch book. I'm like, okay, roll an occult check, roll an intelligence check, and work out like whether you're going to take some like horrible kind of mental ailment. He didn't do any of that. And then by the end, when they're trying to escape the town, the only person who can work a car or knows how it works is him. He's like the only one who survives because the only way out of the town is like, he's just like, are there any cars around? And I was like, yeah, but you don't have a key. He was like, yeah, but I can hotwire one, right? And I was like, I mean, probably you've got incredibly high driving skill. So he's like the only, but he's, I was talking afterwards, he was like, yeah, no, I think my character would feel that was a weird experience and then go back to working on trains.
We had a similar experience with Ash. Ash made a psychologist named Dr. Smolder. We love them.
Oh my god.
They start every game trying to make a burrito, fail miserably, and then proceed to get the. We've played 2 games with them, and every time they are the person who's always causing everyone else to lose their mind. And the joke is that Dr. Smolder knows what he's doing. He makes money from Delta Green by giving everyone psychological treatment after he traumatizes all of them.
You know, I do think systems like this are like massively underrated because again, it's how you engage with them. But in comparison to like D&D and stuff like that, it is just I just think it's it's a really good system. It's a really, really good system.
Sure.
Well,
For sure.
the thing that I've noticed is the huge difference between like Cock, Delta Green, and D&D. I mean, Cock and Delta Green are literally the same system. I think the only reason that
I think it's a little different.
It's a little different. It's a little different. It's still on the
yeah.
basis of the same thing, and I think
Yeah.
the pitch changes quite a bit. But the thing that really gravitates for me to systems like that is that it kind of expects the player to like more or less inhabit their character in the actions they pick when they roll things. Where in D&D you kind of can play a character with certain characteristics, but then you can also min-max your way out of making decisions on the basis of whatever the character would do. And it feels very easy to separate the actions you make at the table from the actions that you would feasibly role play, but they feel more easily entwined with cock, where it's like it makes sense that you would be good at a thing based on the percentage chance of you rolling that. And usually when failure happens in something like cock, it's just you have a more fun time in general because it's expected that that failure leads to an action, where in D&D you fail and it's just like, you fail.
Yeah, and nothing happens for the next 10 minutes while everyone else tries to roll the
Yeah, and then the
check.
rest of the table hops in and also does the same exact thing, right? But
Whereas it's
in
like,
cock,
you know,
that
like,
won't happen.
Call of Cthulhu is like, you fail and the drapes are on fire. Okay, cool. I'll deal with that in a minute. Are you sure? Yeah, it's probably fine. Or like you fail
It
and you
was
knock
not, in fact,
over a
fine.
vase that's like got some like evil stuff in it. I think it's really interesting as well. Like there's one particular Call of Cthulhu's story that I've run I think about 5 times now, which is the dinner party scenario.
Oh yeah,
I'm pretty sure I
the
read
one where I
run this
blew
for
my
you guys.
brains out.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So the dinner party scenario is like I'd like my bread and butter one where it's like everyone gets invited to dinner, everyone's got like a coin, and it's all like a ritual kind of that's been set up to essentially get the party members to turn on each other and play each other. And it works really well because like you'll have people who like will solely focus on, okay, my character is here to get this thing that they want. I don't really care about anything else. And you get other people who are like, actually, you know, I think I usually throw in like, oh, someone's secretly a detective or whatever. And stuff like that. I think Call of Cthulhu is really good for inter-party drama. And fucking each other over in a way that D&D isn't, because D&D runs too long. So like if it's like, oh yeah, no, do you want to fuck over other party members? It's like, not really, because I'm going to be sat at a table with them next week and they're going to be really pissed off because their character now has one arm. And some DMs really frown on that. They're like, oh, we need to make sure that everyone is like at least good or neutral. We can't have an evil character in the party because it's going to cause conflict, and I as a DM don't want to deal with that, which I think is cucked, by the way.
I typically tell my players, hey, do you want to be a party betrayer? And they're like, fuck yeah. and then Kat gets mad at me for letting it happen.
Being one of the people who's
stop
done
singling
that.
Kat out.
She's fine. She doesn't watch the pod.
As someone who's done that, it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah. I let Killjoy destroy a whole city.
It was great. So from what I've been able to like glean from playing Delta Green, my experience is that the difference between like 5e and Call of Cthulhu Delta Green is that the system doesn't fight you to do the fun thing. You can just do the fun thing because there's a skill, or you can imagine a skill where that happens, rather than D&D being like everything is rules is written. You have to like check everything. You can just make stuff up. I mean, you can make stuff up in both of them, but like in Call of Cthulhu, it just feels like the system is more helping the role play rather than the role play being a bolted on part of playing a imaginary dice game with like 5e.
Yeah, I think so. Over time, I don't think D&D is a very good system. Generally speaking, I like as you like play more, and if you're a role player, D&D just isn't that fun. You got to remember as well, D&D was like started as a dungeon crawler. That's what the system is essentially.
We've been playing 1E.
We've been playing 1E. We want to kill ourselves.
Yeah, it's bad. I've played a little bit of 1E.
Yeah.
And like some of the things within that are ridiculous. Like you can do stupid things, but D&D more and more has been leaning towards like role play and everything else. But the way modules work in it makes it much harder. One of the joys of Call of Cthulhu really is the paper thin characters, because you just roll up some random dude, and you're a human. You're literally just a random human, and there's kind of that. There's no like you can't really min max in Call of Cthulhu. You can't be like, okay, I need to make sure that I have the like the correct amount of points in like say firearms, because you probably come to a case where hey, you've got decent points in firearms. You should like, and you're being attacked by cultists, but you're still probably gonna die. Your chance of survival is so incredibly fucking low in Call of Cthulhu. It almost doesn't matter. You have to play smart.
Yeah.
In a way that you just don't in D&D. In D&D, you're like, oh, there's a bar fight. We should probably get in the bar fight. It's like, well, if you get in the bar fight in Call of Cthulhu, there's no long rest. You can't just be like, oh, I'm going to go to sleep for a couple of hours and regain some HP. It's like, okay, you got shot. You're like bandaged up, so you're not going to die immediately, but you've probably got you're going to be in hospital. Actually, the way a lot of sessions, like if your party survives a session, there's usually a 6-month period in game time before that party goes out again, because people have to go and get like medical treatment. People might get locked in the sanatorium. You'll probably end up with like I quite like permanent consequences. So usually like characters that have survived a session will develop some sort of nervous tic or thing that they're like, or new phobia. Like, or they're just like, I think Puffin Forest had a character where it was just like he'd constantly feel like there were bugs underneath his skin on his arm. And it's things like that like I think are really interesting, because you're clearly fucking with something you're not meant to be fucking with, if that makes sense.
Here's something I really like about Call of Cthulhu. With D&D, you make a character for like say a one shot, right? And you kind of feel, regardless of how succinct and how like answered a one shot feels, right, where you reach an ending and a conclusion and you feel satisfied, I always feel like this lingering sense that the story is supposed to continue on at the end of a one shot. And it doesn't matter how well I wrap it up in a nice little bow, it doesn't ever feel like the adventure ends. It always feels like, and then the adventure continues. And that really makes it difficult to do D&D one shots for me, regardless of how nice the ending feels. And there are a lot of really great endings, especially with stuff that's like written out there. But Call of Cthulhu, there are like these magazines with like adventures in it and like little handouts. And the way that Call of Cthulhu is set up is perfect for like, oh, I want to play like one little night of terror. I think actually one of these magazines is called 3 Nights of Terror or something. And it's like 3 different adventures. But you come in, you play an adventure, and the way it ends is always so wrapped up in a nice little bow. It's like an episode of like The X-Files, or like you just feel more satisfied at the end of a session of it, based off of how like the mechanics work and the finality of everything. And all of that just makes for a really good like one-shot machine. And obviously it can help for longer form campaigns, but I feel like it really excels in these like small little vignettes of like a character or like person's life.
Yeah, I feel like D&D, the biggest problem with D&D is even when you get to like the end of a really long campaign, you're like, and then what? What happens next? I'm like level 13. What happens next? I don't get that with Call of Cthulhu. I have never thought about a character after I stopped playing them. But actually saying that, I mean, it's interesting. Do you know, I've only ever played as a player one game of Call of Cthulhu. No one's ever run it for me. So I've
maybe
always
if
had to
you're
run it for
around
other people.
more, we could do that for you.
Oh my gosh.
We'll run it if you want to wrangle everybody.
Yeah, like I would totally be a player in a Call of Cthulhu game. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I think also the nice thing is if you said like, oh, what character would you play in D&D? I have so many character concepts for D&D. I don't have any for Call of Cthulhu. I'm just like, I don't know, I'd be like an archaeologist or something. I would just like rip the shit out of other people for picking that. But I'd totally just be like, yeah, I'm just an archaeologist or some shit. I don't know. I'm a history fucking professor. Interestingly as well, I think Call of Cthulhu is one of the few games where playing an old character can be really awesome, because you're just like an old eccentric person with like a load of knowledge. and like you got shit like health stats, but like, damn, can you read a book?
You get to play.
There's
the
a
eccentric
grandma with 1
philanthropist.
HP. Oh, Sonny, I found this weird little book. It says Necronomicon on it. Grandma opens it up, immediately dies.
So I played one game where basically the characters were poisoned super early on in the game.
Mhm.
And I think they were poisoned by the tea lady at the university.
Oh.
And when the effects of the poison started to be noticed, only one person didn't have it. And they became really suspicious of this person because they'd been talking to a cat. They just really liked the cat. They thought the cat was cute. But no, they'd been poisoned like at basically like the start of the session. This one person just refused a cup of tea because the tea lady was part of the cult. I was just like, I also feel like Call of Cthulhu is a game where you can be cruel to your players. You can give them like an unfair situation.
And to like hop back on Diesel's point, I think the difference between like running a D&D and this like Cthulhu Delta Green is in D&D you're playing an adventurer, and we don't really have an analog for like retiring as an adventurer in our heads because we don't live in that time period. We have so many like ideas of like what it's like to just see some shit and be like, nah, I'm done. Why would I want to go through that again? As like a Call of Cthulhu or Delta Green character, you're just like, yeah, that was a lot. I'm going to go get forever therapy and work a desk job. I'm never doing that again. And that's if you survive, which is the big part of these systems.
Yeah, big if.
Yeah. From what I hear, Delta Green, you maybe one character survives a game, and then I hear like Cthulhu, Call of Cthulhu. If everyone dies, they basically ran as written kind of vibe.
Well, in Beckett's second Call of Cthulhu game he ran, or third, I don't remember. We were all on a plane, and we were like the reincarnations of our previous character or something.
Yes, yeah, that was such a fucked up, fucking weird game to run.
It was so trippy because I was playing like a completely different character from my first one. I was like, "What do you mean in my last life?" And I was like shaking the guy.
Yeah, stuff like that is just generally very fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that more systems need stuff like that where the ability to fuck with the player just is a bit more available to the DM. I mean, I think it also highlights how many systems are out there that are just really good and no one really plays that much. I was pleasantly surprised playing Warhammer with you guys, right? The Warhammer RPG
We did
system.
not play Warhammer correctly though.
No, I took a lot of liberties with that, but then also like pretty much all
I
the
meant
good.
in like our play style.
Oh yeah. I mean, in broad strokes, we were kind of like doing the rules correctly.
We were doing the rules correctly. We were not doing the role play correctly. We felt a chaos and we just kept going. It was so funny.
Yeah, I think that like it's a shame because there are so many good systems out there, and like going back to Vampire the Masquerade, it is one of those things where it's very hard to run something like a Vampire the Masquerade game unless you can sit down with a group and play it for a year or two. I don't think it's particularly easy for most people to just like find a Vampire the Masquerade group, whereas D&D you can just drop in for a one shot. I'm not even sure how I'd one shot a Vampire the Masquerade game. I'm pretty sure I've tried before, but honestly, it's almost easier just to like use the Call of Cthulhu system for all one shots. That's my campaign. Call of Cthulhu as a system should be used for all one shots going forward in every single setting. I think the other thing is like about it is it's so easy to learn and just go in whatever the situation, doesn't matter. You don't need to really look at your sheet too much. You go, Okay, what's your ability score? Oh, it's this. Roll a d100. Is it are you alive? Is your score lower than the d100? Because if so, you're alive. And things like bonuses or like advantage or whatever is like, well, did you get double? It's so much easier. It's just so easy. It's so easy. Just do that.
Diesel ran for us another campaign which was very much like that. Where there was like a bunch of hooks, you rolled the dice, whoops, your eye came out. If not great, you know. I don't remember
It
what
was
it was called.
Morkborg. It was
Morkborg. There you go.
Yeah. I've gotten better at running it. I'm not gonna lie. The one I ran with you guys was actually pretty fucking bad. I ran some other one shots with the public recently to like test myself, and there's a lot better ways to do Morkborg. The thing is with Morkborg, when you do, it is a one shot machine. That one too, right? But it's like a dungeon crawling one shot machine. The way that Morkborg works is really you need everybody to be like cool with playing a diarrhea poop person, and then it gets really exciting and funny. But otherwise, if somebody takes it like deathly seriously, it's like not fun. Because it's so grimdark that it gets cringe when you do it like that. So you need everybody to be like, I like to play around in the feces, and then I go into the dungeon of syringes, and I get AIDS and die, and that's like
that sounds like so it's basically like an RPG version of Darkest Dungeon.
Yeah. Actually, that's kind of a good way to put it. Yeah. I'd probably say Shadow Dark is more of that variety, but it's both of those are missing like the mental affliction thing that exists with like Call of Cthulhu or Delta Green or Vampire the Masquerade or a few other horror RPGs. There was Public Access, which is an analog horror RPG. I just watched the review of that. Very interesting.
That sounds really interesting. I'd play
right?
That
it's like, oh, you and your friends try to find out what the creepypastas are, and I'm like,
that is interesting.
It's not that creepypasta. So I was gonna bring that up. Like D&D, it has madness mechanics. They're bad.
They are really bad.
They are so bad. Whereas in like Delta Green, I don't know about Call of Cthulhu. Delta Green has this whole relationship like mechanic that if you are going insane, you can then put pressure on your social relationships that have consequences in later, like in your downtime, to avoid going insane.
So I think a good way to describe Delta Green for people who don't know, it's like whereas Call of Cthulhu is great for one shots, it's for people who want to play Call of Cthulhu but keep their characters.
It could definitely not run like that.
It could be a one shot, but it's more built around.
Yeah, it's definitely
longer
incentivized
campaigns.
Yeah, for like a season of a TV show or something.
Yeah.
Like a True Detective season 1 is what people compare it to a lot of the time. Which is definitely high praise if you've seen that first season of True Detective. I do want to circle back to Vampire the Masquerade because there was some Emil slander earlier, and I think we gotta address that elephant in the room.
I do want to ask about the flesh wall.
Okay, let's start with the Emil slander before we get into the monstrosity that was Verena. Okay.
And then,
so Diesel played himself.
No, okay.
Which is okay. It's fine. No one's judging you.
I didn't plan to play myself one.
Plan to, but you did.
No.
Can we talk about the Twitter accounts?
The Twitter accounts?
Yeah. Can we talk about Twitter accounts?
Okay, so harking
Isn't
back
that your
earlier,
main isn't that your main Twitter account now, Hal?
No. I don't use it at all.
Oh.
Because there's no point anymore. There's no point.
This is all just guilt tripping me to come and run a Vampire the Masquerade campaign, isn't it? That's
It's
the whole point of this.
100% is. This was why I invited you on. No. But yeah, no. So fuck. Do we want to talk about the Twitter accounts? Let's talk about the Twitter accounts. So in Beckett's campaign, so I was playing as Michi. And Zamichi, they get obsessed with things very quickly. And because I was like a 700 and something-year-old vampire. I think 23-year-old vampire. I was really like old-fashioned. I lived in a castle in Transylvania. I had the silly accent, and I became very obsessed with the Twitters because I had never seen such technology before, and I thought it was amazing. So yeah, I thought it would be really funny to just make the Twitter account and be wildly, wildly Twitter-esque on it, you know?
Yeah, it's important to note again, you made the Twitter account in real life and were commenting on random fucking tweets with it.
I was. I
and you
was.
like, well,
so
I was.
funny.
I like
That's so
commented on a Elon Musk because in game, there's no
This is-
sugarcoating
yeah, how are-
it. Verena was an ex-Nazi.
Oh my
X
god.
being the keyword. She had a
which
falling
is-
out
yes.
with Hitler. He joined the flesh wall. It was great.
He joined the flesh wall.
He
Got
joined
it.
the flesh wall. Hitler was in my flesh wall because he fell out with me. Which was part of
Oh my
fun,
fucking
really.
God. I like how you were trying to thread that needle. To be clear, I expanded upon the falling out with the, and it is written in lore that Zamichi sided with the Nazis during World War II, right? Yes.
It was.
Okay.
That's why I
Okay.
did it.
So I ran there's like a system, which by the way, Bison kind of runs on the same system as it. Eat the Reich.
Cool.
So I ran Eat the Reich, but I took a lot of liberties with it. So I had our Vampire the Masquerade characters basically deploy into Nazi-occupied France and kill Hitler. And I expanded on everybody's relationship to the Nazis and the Allies during World War II because they're all elder vampires. So I had all these cutaway scenes for Verena, Hal's vampire, to be like, here's why she fell out with the Nazis. They were secretly going to two-time her because they're fucking Nazis. And then that's why Hitler ends up in the flesh wall.
Oh my god.
Tortured for all eternity.
Lovely. Okay,
Yeah,
so
it
flesh
was-
wall. Is this like the source wall, or is this like
No, I
Night
actually had
Lord's flesh wall?
so Zamishi, they are really fucked up. So their whole gimmick is they have transcended flesh. They have the ability to manipulate other people's flesh and their own. A lot of the times they're like horrific monsters beyond human comprehension. Have I ever shown you Verena's art, Killjoy? Let me.
Kat has shown me many art pieces, mostly the spicy ones.
They like turning
Let
people
me
into
show
chairs
you.
while they're
Yeah,
still
like
alive.
when
Oh,
I'm
cool.
gonna show you Verena's flesh chair too. So she had a lot of flesh things. She had a flesh
That sounds
bed.
really sexual when you say that, by the way.
It is
Yeah.
really
Saying, like,
sexual. She
the
turned
flesh-
all her lovers who disappointed her into a flesh bed.
Regardless of
wait,
how
bed.
fucked up a vampire is, I kind of feel like there's a weird, like, sexy angle with every
Absolutely.
vampire and Vampire the Masquerade. It doesn't matter how messed up they are. That's like something, like, I don't know. Maybe it's just the concept of a vampire is like a little erotic.
Yeah. So Verena, her like real body, she had like a backup body that she would morph into to get around in human society. But her real body, she had 4 arms, like 8
She was a spider.
no, more
lady.
than 8. Like 8 eyes. She wasn't a
Oh.
spider lady. She wasn't. Let me make this clear. Let me make this clear. The reason she sided with the Nazis was because her quirk, I guess, to put it, not like her like compulsion, but her quirk was she wanted to build a master race, like a group of beings that have transcended humanity, transcended vampirism, and just like evolve everything. And naturally, you can see a little bit of overlap with what Hitler was trying to
I
do.
can see a lot of overlap.
And then she
She's
was like, well,
we
this
have
is actually
similar
just like
goals."
anti-Semitism. So I'm out.
She was like, "Boo, you lost the plot." No,
I don't know
You
if that was
lost
the
the
actual
plot.
reason. I
Ubermensch.
feel like that may not have been the reason. I feel like that is very much revisionist history. I'm
It's not
pretty
revisionist
sure.
history. This is what it was. Hand on heart. That's what it
Yeah.
was.
She's like, I joined for eugenics, and all I got was anti-Semitism. This
exactly. She believed in eugenics, not the anti-Semitism.
That's insane.
I feel like that is
Probably
not the reason that you fell out with Hitler. I feel very strongly.
Man.
Fuck, I'm now searching my brain. Do I have any of my old notes? I could have sworn
I
that wasn't the
have
reason
my
you fell.
old notes. I have the 700 years of lore that I wrote for Verena in front of me right now.
Why are you
okay?
digging yourself in this hole right now, all right? Nobody said the
Yeah.
vampires had to be fucking good people.
I'm
all
not
right?
saying she was a good
Listen,
person.
Verena
it's
was very, very
eugenics.
pro-Israel, okay? Please don't cancel Verena.
I'm not saying she was pro-Israel. I'm
That's
saying
insane.
she wasn't there for the killing Jews. She was there for the building the master race.
Look, man,
Um,
she fucking killed Hitler. She killed Hitler, all right?
He didn't
She
kill
wins.
him.
It
He's
doesn't
alive
matter.
in the flesh wool.
He is by all intents and purposes dead, okay?
Anyway, not the point. I actually lost my point because we got on a bit of a
No, it's
tangent
good.
where
We were scraping bedrock with that shovel at that point. So
Yeah, Hal's digging
Um,
herself a hole.
Anyway, yeah. So she
The
wanted to build a
vampires
master
can be
race.
bad people.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, obviously.
They
I
can
don't-
be bad people.
I don't care if people call me a bitch for playing a Nazi.
I think that anyone doing that is missing the point.
You're missing the point. Fuck you. I don't care. But yeah, so she wanted to build a master race. Didn't work out in the Hitler game. So instead, she teamed up with these guys to build some robots. That would probably eventually fall through as well. But like she herself, sort of like made herself this like being. Like her skin was constantly like shifting in like these different like swirly things. She had like 10 eyes. 11 eyes. Her mouth would like unhinge like a snake when she wanted to bite a person. That's not how she fed. The way she fed was she got like 5 people that she liked the flavor of, and she sort of merged them all together to create a living, pumping blood fountain, which she'd get a chalice and drink from like a civilized fucking person. The flesh wool. So what she would do when people really pissed her off, by, let's say, turning people into dogs, she would be like, this is a disgusting abomination. You've taken my vision. You've shat all over it. I'm going to put you in a constant state of living agony. You will never age. You will never die. You will just exist with every single nerve in your body on fire as your thoughts are pounded by everybody else in said flesh wool. She
I was gonna say, I love Hellraiser.
yeah, she was like a Cenobite.
Yeah, to explain, the Zamichi are flesh shapers, and they kind of
Yeah.
exist in that
Yeah.
realm of like a body horror vampire,
Yeah.
where it's like a true.
It's actually what Dracula was. He was a Zamishi. She had
Yes.
beef with him because
in
they were
BTM
alive.
lore, isn't it that Zamichi need like a castle or some equivalent of that? Correct?
No, Zamishi.
Or they need like a
their
hold or something.
lore, one of them is their ties to the motherland, Transylvania. So they need to sleep in like the dirt or like a coffin. They need like remnants of their home surrounding them. So when when Verena came to England, she She bought this really fancy man. She bought 2 actually because she didn't want one of the vampires to know where she actually lived. She wanted to she had like a bunch of her valuable belongings shipped over. She had the basement covered in her dirt, you know, the typical vampire shit, you know? Yeah, that's what it basically was. The traditional vampire, kind of. She could shapeshift into animals, she could melt into the earth, turn into smoke, yada yada yada.
Dracula shit, got it.
Dracula shit, yeah, because Dracula
the
was
classic
a Zamichi.
like the movie Nosferatu,
Yeah.
rather
No,
than
yeah,
Nosferatu's
kinda.
ugly, but like, you know, he needs the dirt, the stake through
Yeah.
the heart stuff, all that. The very typical classical vampire trappings Zamichi get a lot of.
Yeah,
Bram
that's
Stoker.
like a lot of their flaws.
I played the opposite.
Yeah. So
Well,
Diesel,
you say the opposite. There's a lot of overlap, I think, with Zamichi and Toreador.
I don't know. There's more. It's
both
more
fit-
Anne Rice.
Yeah, yours
vampire.
are more Anne Rice, but like they both have like a similar compulsion. They get obsessed with specific things they deem beautiful or something. And they're like, no, this is mine. How dare you? Zamichis can also do it with like people, where they get obsessed with a person as well, and they're like, no, this is my person, and I'm gonna keep you mine. I'm gonna turn you into a monstrosity so that no one else wants you. That sort of thing.
So Diesel, you've been poked fun at now to enter the hot seat. What was your character?
Oh, mine was a Toreador named Emil. So I totally forgot about this until you were just talking about it. He wrote like dark romance fiction.
No, he wrote smut. That's crazy.
Yeah, that was like one thing he did. He was also
Not
like
only he wrote smut, he was a streamer.
he was a streamer as well.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And so the whole like shtick with that Beckett came up with was that isn't it weird how this guy looks like this guy from the past?
Yeah, it's literally the whole thing of like, you know, when like someone like brings up like a picture of a streamer, it's like, hey, or someone from the past, like looks like this streamer. But yeah, it's basically like Diesel had just been like Emil was like a famous person throughout the ages, and he'd done like loads of random different things. So he'd been an author at one point. He'd been an actor. He was currently a streamer because that was the current media entertainment thing. But also like the mechanic I put in for this was whenever he does anything, because it's now the age of Twitter, he can be cancelled for it. So he had to roll whenever he did anything of whether it would like go viral on Twitter and like potentially fuck up his career or cause problems for him.
Oh, that's so funny.
It was really funny.
So I've seen crazy art of your character, Diesel, in
I mean,
compromising position.
First of all, I feel like here's the thing. I am a straight man.
Okay.
But
goddamn,
half of that is true.
I am a straight man. However,
Emil was the first time I had wanted to play characters that I don't necessarily like identify with like a lot of their characteristics. So I was like, all right, well, you know, Emil's a Toreador. I guess he's bisexual. Why not?
Just trying it out, see how it feels. Then we'll go on.
It's like a joke in the friend group that Beckett and Diesel are gay lovers. And I'm not even sure
as opposed to Kat, who's like every time like, I'm gonna play a straight character and then becomes a lesbian
then
every single fucking game.
Well, no, not a lesbian.
Okay, yeah, you're just
they always play guys.
Yes.
Look, the egg will crack someday.
Yeah,
we really gotta stop doing this. We gotta stop doing this to Kat.
It's fine.
No, we'll invite
She'll
Kat
think
on
it's
one day
funny,
and we'll just
so
she'll be like, I heard you guys were talking shit.
Yeah, but
that is
Emil's
on the list.
To be fair, I would say all of this to her face, and I think have done.
Yeah.
we
Oh,
all
crack that
have.
joke all the
That's the
time.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, nothing we
But-
say on the podcast we wouldn't say to Kat. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's true. But the whole shtick was that like Emil was like always a romantic, and the fame was his means by, getting people to feed on, but then also to have like build his like knowledge base off of these tragic romances or this tragic love that would fall apart because of his obsession. And so I really enjoyed that part. I think what really was great and that I enjoyed about Emil was just that as a character for like being a player, and I'm not a player often, is just that the way Vampire the Masquerade kind of encourages the Toreador to be kind of like a slay sassy girl boss type character is just really great because they have their power, or one of the powers that they have is that they basically have the voice from Dune. Using another media property to explain another media property is really great, but
yeah, it's basically it's kind of like there's a variety of powers in Vampire the Masquerade. From it's been really simplified down in the current edition, and now everything's like special things are kind of like madness is actually now like a combined subdivision with domination. I hate this as a system, by the way, so I literally just homebrew in the previous systems powers, which made far more sense and were way better, and everyone needs to shut the fuck up. I don't listen. If you're currently playing current edition Vampire the Masquerade and you like the power system, you're wrong. That's it.
Well,
anyway, so basically, you've got a variety of powers. For instance, like Zamichi have like their flesh crafting. Tremere have blood magic. The Malkavians have madness. And there's like shared powers as well between some of the clans. But this particular power, I can't remember. I think it's presence.
Is it? It's presence. It's called presence. Yeah.
Which basically like this whole thing of how hypnotic being in the presence of a vampire is, and like this is one of the nice things about I think Vampire the Masquerade is it's really good at taking bits of vampire mythology or like different vampires and finding a way to work them into a system. So like obviously you've got like the Nosferatu, or literally the Nosferatu from the film Nosferatu, or you've got like the Toreador are like this idea of the very sexy Dracula. You've got the idea of kind of like a brutal, almost monstrous kind of thing with the oh god, what are the Bruja? There we go. Or like the very animalistic version with Gangrel, where it's like kind of like a vampire that's very in touch with nature, like the whole thing of like of Dracula talking to wolves or bats and things. That's very gangrelly. And like the way that works in different places. So like for instance, like urban gangrels, like where the forest, like their forest is a city, are terrifying. Urban gangrels are like absolutely fucking horrifying to deal with because you're basically being hunted by a wolf that lives in a city. And is like super stealthy, super quick. And yeah, I think it's really good at that. And presence in particular is great, especially because you're an elder. You had it at a far higher level, which is basically just everyone just listens to what you say. Everyone's just like, oh yeah, no, we should do the thing that the guy says because he's pretty.
Yeah, he had pretty privilege.
Which is literally, it is so funny to have like the pretty privilege as a power. I could not get enough of using that because of how it would just because it's one of those powers that it encourages more roleplay, and I really like things that do that in systems. So being able to say things to NPCs and them just being like, oh my god, yes, and then they just do it is very funny. But it's even funnier when you do it to the other player characters.
Yeah,
because the only one who could fight it was Hal's character.
Yeah,
and it made like a really fun dynamic between our characters because you were like, yeah, I kind of like this like bite back, you know?
Yeah, because so the way powers work as well, it's quite important. Is if you are like so different generations, like depending on how far your blood or like how diluted your blood is from Cain, will generally dictate your power level. In fact, actually, one of the theories for like the Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines video game is actually all the blood points you can possibly earn put you at a far older generation than the one you're like supposedly meant to be. So the theory is actually that you weren't sired by somebody in like I think it's like 12th generation. You were actually sired by somebody in like 7th. So you are one of the reasons you can do all the things you can in Vampire the Masquerade, and you're such a nightmare to deal with, and why you're so effective, is you're actually just like a far more powerful vampire than anything else you're dealing with. You're still a fledgling, but depending on your blood purity, that's what matters. And for things like dominate, presence, if you're like, you could be like, so you could be like fairly old, fairly experienced, and everything else. But if you're trying to deal with somebody who's like a 5th or 6th generation vampire and you're like 12th, you are not going to be able to dominate that person. Your blood just isn't strong enough. There's nothing, and I think that's another interesting element. There is nothing you can do about that. So like Diesel's character is like, it's not working on Hal because Hal's just older than Diesel is. Like, sorry, out of a higher generation, a lower generation than Diesel is, which I think is a really interesting little mechanic.
Yeah, these are the disciplines, right? That's the in-game mechanic name for them. Because I'm looking at the list. You got the animalism, the auspex, blood sorcery, clarity, dominate, and then like there's one specifically for the youngest generation. It's called thin blood alchemy. I think that's for the newer
thin bloods.
So
sorry.
So thin bloods are when you have like you're getting vampires now where it's been thousands of years since the time of Cain. So the blood has become so diluted that thin bloods, like in some cases, are barely vampires at all. Like they're considered a really ill omen. They have advantages. Like sometimes a thin blood, you can be a vampire, you can be a thin blood, but you won't know what clan you're in. You'll have kind of no powers. You may even be able to walk in sunlight because the blood is just so thin in you. It almost has no impact. And that can have like benefits and like negatives. It's really interesting, actually, like the Vampire the Masquerade 2 video game, which has been very poorly received, in that you play an elder vampire, but the original pitch for the game, like what it was originally going to be, was actually you would be a thin blood to begin with. You'd be like brand fucking new. And I think the general idea was at some point you'd diabolarize an older vampire so you could actually like almost pick a clan through diablerism, which is a really interesting concept, really which got completely, we'll never see. But
yeah, damn, what a shame.
We
that
could
premise.
See.
Oh, we could see. I see what you're doing.
We could see. Yeah. Just lay it on Vic. Lay it on. He's got to want it, guys. I'm gonna make him want it.
I have an idea in my head of what kind of vampire I would want to play now.
You want to play an Nosferatu?
If we ever went back to VTM, I'd just need to play Emil. I haven't reached the end of that character's story.
Well,
all right.
I had an idea for like a gangrel dock worker who's just like his like animal for like his animal like animalistic form is like a lamprey. That's fucking cool, right?
So cool.
See, I quite like Tremere. I quite like Tremere. I think they're really
your little self-insert was a Tremere, right?
Actually, my little self-insert was so my little self-insert was sort of a Tremere. He was actually Cult of Sat, which are like they're sort of a clan and sort of not. They're basically like kind of vampire Scientology would be a fair way to explain Cult of Sat. No. They're like it's but yeah, he was interesting. The Tremere are really weird. Like he basically, I suppose, like I don't know. We can talk about it here. He told people like he was a Tremere, but I can't remember what his actual clan is. I've got it written down somewhere, but he's like not. He's something really weird. I think he might actually be a Malkavian, who's like, because he is super old, and I think his backstory is that he's a Malkavian that every time he moves or does something else or meets new people, he'll tell them he's of a different clan. And then he's vaguely under the cult of Set. So it's sort of like no one's really asking too many questions about what your bloodline is. But I think he was just a Malkavian who thought it was funny. I think that was his actual lore.
That's so base.
So as someone who's never played, I gotta ask the dumb question: what is the Masquerade?
So the Masquerade.
I can't believe we got this far without asking that question.
So the Masquerade was basically put in place after the Great Vampire Hunts. It's essentially, and it's a core mechanic of we should probably hide from humans because humans will kill us. There are just too many of them. So the Masquerade is enforced by basically like there are three main factions. There are many mini factions, but there are three main factions: the Sabbat, the Camarilla, and the Anarchs. The Anarchs and the Camarilla both agree at the need to hide vampire society, but the Anarchs basically think we're vampires, leave us alone. We don't need to be ruled by you. They essentially like actually came out of the Great Depression a little bit as quite a strong faction. But like they've been going back a long way. The Camarilla we are going to control everything. We are vampire society, largely led by the Ventru.
Got it. Vampire Illuminati.
Kind of, yeah. Actually, it's not a bad way to put it. Like, and the way sort of society is broken down is vampires do have territories. Like, you will be a vampire, you will live in an area, and there will be a baron or a prince who owns that area, who's like in control of that city or county or whatever. And they could be affiliated to multiple factions, but like you're in that vampire's territory, essentially. And then the last group is the Sabbat, who are, we're vampires, humans are cattle, why are we hiding? We should use our powers in front of humans, and also we should kill everything. They're sort of like extreme accelerationists, is the way I'd put the Sabbat. But ultimately, you're sort of ruled by these, essentially, like, sometimes it's like the Anarchs agree with maintaining the Masquerade because it's, it protects them. They recognize that vampire hunters turning up is a bad thing because vampire hunters will find a way to kill you. So you should probably hide from them. It's stuff like that, which I think is an interesting concept, is like, don't use your powers too much, or don't use like really explicit powers, like don't turn into a wolf in front of people, because that's the sort of thing that people are going to have questions about, and maybe that vampire hunter will notice. It's that kind of thing.
And then you mentioned earlier Gehenna. That's where Cain comes back and cleans up all of vampire society, kind of thing, right?
Sort of, yeah. So to be clear, it's this is slightly down to the like game runner, but generally it's pretty accepted that Cain. So as you get older as a vampire, eventually you are going to get tired. And what happens quite often is really old vampires of the like lower generations will basically go into something called torpor, where they go to sleep for fucking ages. And a lot of the antediluvians are in torpor. And when they wake up, they are hungry. And these things are also, it's like, we have a picture of vampires like, oh, they're pretty human or whatever. But like when we're talking like the third generation, like the antediluvians, these things are monstrosities. They are psychotically powerful. They are world ending. I think there's an entire campaign where one of them, I can't remember which one it is. I think it's the antediluvian for like the Romany gypsy vampires. They're like symbols like a raven. it wakes up. And I think the way they kill it is essentially like a load of wizards drop the equivalent of a ton of nuclear bombs worth of magic on it to kill it. Because these things are a major world threat. Like they and the first thing that happens when your antediluvian wakes up is your blood goes, hey, I should really go and see good old dad and maybe get eaten so it can gain its power back. So yeah, these are like significant threats, and there's one of like sort of the ongoing conflict is factions either trying to wake up the antediluvians because they want their power, or they want them to come back and end the world. Factions trying to eat antediluvians so they can become powerful, which is like the Giovanni faction, which in current edition has largely been disbanded. Like the Giovannis essentially ate. I think the Giovannis actually ate an antediluvian.
Yeah, they get like
That's crazy.
subsumed by one of the other factions. To be clear, the clans in Vampire the Masquerade are the best way I've heard it described is that Vampire the Masquerade is, I mean, well, one, the theater kids, and then the other half is that you're actually playing like mob. Like it's the mob. You're in the mob.
Especially if you play like
They are like directly mob. They are actually just a mob family.
They're the mob family.
You know.
Yeah.
But essentially, Gehenna is like the end of the world, where lots of antediluvians wake up and like just kill everything. But Cain is still around. Cain is still doing things. Like he is active in the world of darkness. Largely, see, so Cain's thing is this. I said earlier that the punishment that Cain got for killing Abel was to be turned into a super being, but like it really is. Your descendants are all going to turn on each other and kill them. And a lot of what Cain seems to do in the world of darkness is basically intervene on behalf or like help certain vampires to destabilize or stabilize things as he sees fit. Because he's like a truly ancient being. But it's like he's, I don't know, fairly depressed. I describe Cain like he's basically just watched his species, his race that he's created, that he is like the progenitor of, kill itself for thousands of years. So like he's sort of a bit resigned to it all, because that's his punishment. That's the actual point. That's what God did to him. It was always going to turn out this way.
He gets to be the guy looking at the it's that Ozymandias thing where he's like, he looks upon his works and realizes there was nothing but dust anyway.
Yeah, because I mean, as my understanding is that he really cared for the three vampires he personally sired, and then the antediluvians killed them. So he is not a great fan of the antediluvians.
Oh, it was the Nosferatu one that killed one of them, right? And that's why they look fucked up.
Yeah, I think so. Here's a really interesting thing about Nosferatus as well, is Nosferatus will quite often, so Nosferatu are hideous, but they will very often sire people who are good looking. They will sire people who are like models and actresses, because they want to, people who are arrogant about their looks, they want to knock them down a peg.
And you keep using the word antediluvian. That means the before the flood, right? That's the basically people the vampires that existed before the Noah's flood, which washed away their whole civilization.
So antediluvians are basically like we probably sped through this, but yeah. So Cain sires 3 vampires. Those 3 vampires go on to sire another generation of vampires. That generation that those 3 vampires sired are the antediluvians. There's not many of them. There's only like 13 or so. But very particularly, they turned on the 3 vampires who ruled over the first city, killed them, and then because of that, they got cursed, and they are the kind of progenitors of all the main bloodlines, essentially. So it's a very particular bracket who are like the origin points and also the biggest threat to vampires. If they wake up, that's when the end times start. That's when people like the world starts ending.
It's kind of crazy that Vampire the Masquerade is like the one It's the only RPG I've ever engaged with that's like, you know what? The Abrahamic religion is the one
They
that's
have
real.
their own Bible in universe.
Yeah.
I learned that through watching a bunch of lore videos.
Well,
Yeah, they have their own Bible in universe.
So one of the things that's interesting about the hunters in this universe is that they have magic if they have true faith, right? Am I on the right track there? I'm kind of like parsing this
Yeah,
with
yeah,
osmosis, right?
definitely,
So
yeah, they
truth faith doesn't mean that they're like of Abrahamic descent. You could be like a Buddhist with true faith and have powers from that.
yeah. So it's to do with it's what's a good way to put a lot of this shit? It's
Sorry, I came up with
it's
some
very
idea.
much sort of I think I put it as true faith, but it's
Mhm.
very much a thing of a lot of different mythologies are kind of true. So we haven't even talked about like the Asian version of vampires, which aren't really
Oh
vampires
yeah.
at all.
Oh my gosh.
They
There's
are
so much here. By the way, all of the extra tertiary media for Vampire the Masquerade fucking blows.
like what you mean, like the games and things, or what do you
Well,
mean
Comic
by that?
the
books.
2000s game is good. The sequel, not so much. I went and I read the comics because I kind of wanted to experience it. And when Beckett is talking about how like Vampire the Masquerade is trying to be more mass appealing, what the reality is that Vampire the Masquerade has always been kind of punk and countercultural. Which means like they inadvertently in the 90s ended up being hilariously un-PC about tons of things. To the point where they're like, some of the vampires, I don't know, racist caricature about Middle Eastern people, right? So there would be stuff like that. And so like you kind of engage with the new rule book and you're kind of sitting there going, okay, guys, you can stop apologizing. It's okay. And then you read the comic books and they're really cringe. They're like not working. I was coming in expecting to read The Sopranos, but vampires. What I got was Teen Wolf, but it's vampires.
So back to the hunters thing. To elaborate on my dumb idea, you could have a 12-stepper, an alcoholic who, because you have to give up yourself to a higher power. They could get magic powers out of that.
Well, it's like it's very dependent. Usually, there's a lot of blessed stuff there because like holy water and stuff doesn't work. Stakes do, fire does, shotguns to the face definitely do. But there's definitely like magic. It's very dependent on kind of like what's a good way to put this? I think a lot of
kinda
it
work off of
depends on the hunter as well. So for us, I had hunters who weren't really church affiliated. They were like essentially street kids. But one member of this hunters group was a mage. So they were extraordinarily effective. like because
Yeah.
like two of the guys are just dudes with like a lot of balls and shotguns, but one of them is like altering reality. So it becomes a lot easier to kill a vampire with a shotgun when the vampire can't fucking move. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's things like that. And yeah, I think this is one of the other interesting things I really like about the Vampire the Masquerade universe, I guess. When you get into it, you're like, I can be a cool vampire. And as you read more and you understand more, you're like, wow, vampires are like massively bottom of the food chain of scary shit in this fucking universe.
Yeah.
You're like super powerful and you're like, okay, you hunt humans, but you're going like werewolves, for example, are just murderous tanks. And mages are just horrifying. Mages are actually horrifying.
Like, built different.
So yeah, it's things like that. I think and again, each of these has their own little system to exist with them.
Yeah, because World of Darkness is, I think we touched on this at the beginning, broken up into 3 systems. There's Werewolf of the Apocalypse. There's Hunter
the Reckoning.
Hunter the Reckoning, and then there's Vampire the Masquerade.
And then there's also like board games that are like more specific things in the universe. But It's actually pretty deep. The problem is it's nearly impossible to get into unless you're just gonna read a wiki. Okay.
So yeah, and so like how would you suggest people get into Vampire the Masquerade, Beckett?
Well, it's quite difficult because, you know, the sort of people who play a lot of Vampire the Masquerade, it's like you really have to get into it. So you probably don't have a lot of friends, which is challenging.
It is really hard to play Vampire the Masquerade.
I guess
it is really hard to get a friend to do that for you.
No, I guess there are some really interesting things. Like if you just want to play a couple of times, live events are really interesting. So one of my friends does live stuff where basically people will throw it as an event like a dinner party. So you turn up as your vampire with like other people at this kind of party, like a ball or something. And I think that's really interesting if you can find events like that. Ultimately, you need a group of people who are going to be dedicated to sitting down with you, like week after week. It's really is one of those sessions. The other thing to keep in mind as well is you probably need a pretty versatile DM because like Vampire leans itself very much to one-on-one sessions where it's like your vampire is just doing this thing. And whether that is shopping, whether that's finding a new haven to live in, whether it's like, you know, one thing that in the same way that Dungeons and Dragons has like a world map, Vampire the Masquerade has essentially a mind map, which is like highly encouraged. Like session 1 is you will start building this mind map, which is essentially all your connections to other people. So drawing lines between like relationship lines between these different groups. And I think that's really an essential part of it. You have to very much get into it.
So a DM, a dedicated DM is a very big part of running a vampire.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
That wasn't a shot. I'm just...
Mine was.
I'm genuinely
Beckett,
curious
come
because I'm genuinely curious because I've never been able to play, and it always seemed like a lot, and my impression has been it is the game where if you were ever going to show up as your character, this is the one. This is the one where you dress up and show up and get all gussied up to play.
See, I think one thing that would make Vampire the Masquerade easier is like one of the big problems with Vampire the Masquerade is maps. This was my biggest gripe as a DM, just setting up a world. And Vampire the Masquerade is like because like with D&D, it's so easy to find battle maps. And I've made a load myself. You can find them on my Patreon, by the way, if people want to go to my Patreon. There's Dungeons and Dragons maps on my Patreon. But yeah, there is.
Oh, that's so
cool. Because I used to make D&D maps. Like all the time. Hold on. Have I ever shown you these?
No.
Give me 2 seconds. Let me go and find some D&D maps.
Yeah, one of my big things I do for maps is I take an existing place and slap like a fantasy skin on it. So like I've used St. Peter's Basilica as a map for a temple before. I've used castles. I keep making a joke that I'm going to make a dragon's lair out of the British Museum.
See, that's cool.
Yeah.
I've got.
Well, it is a hoard of stolen treasures. So.
So this is like an airship map I made.
Oh, that's crazy good.
Bro, that's actually insane. What the fuck?
Diesel.
Yeah,
Diesel. Hire him right now. What?
Guys, I can't. I don't have money. I can't give you money. Beckett, would you like to be published? I can do that.
Yeah, hold on. Let me change this one out. Hold on. Let me just copy this and I'll send it to Killjoy so you can actually put it in the podcast. Give me a sec.
That's crazy good. Holy shit.
Hell yeah.
You'll have to do a little bit of cuts around here while I'm actually changing images and things.
Yeah, you guys are giving me a shitload of work on this one.
Oh no.
So this was for a one shot that I did. So it was like a 2-tiered mana.
All right,
Oh,
all
that's
right,
great
guy.
too.
All right, guy. You want to
So
come back in on this? This is crazy good. What the hell?
Holy shit!
I need a guy that does this.
You do.
So-
We need a guy that does this for the book.
I know we do.
let me send both of those over just to KJ again. And then I've got
Send
one
it to
other
Diesel,
that I
'cause
can
he's the guy
show
that
you.
added.
Yeah, I'm just
That's okay.
forwarding them to
It's
Diesel,
being
and I'm
forwarded.
getting epic maps out of this. Don't stop him, Hal. These are amazing.
I know, but I'm not getting the epic maps, so fuck you.
I'll send them to you too.
Yay! Never mind.
Beckett,
Mm.
where can people find you?
People can find
Oh.
me at Cope and Seethe on YouTube and Twitter. And mostly just pissing around random places of the internet. That's pretty much it.
One, you should probably mention where you can find a Patreon, Beckett.
Oh,
So
you can just. I think it's just
people are
Cope and
gonna be
Seethe on
actually
Patreon.
interested.
Yeah, I think it's just
Okay,
Cope and Seethe
cool.
on Patreon. I think it's linked through our channel. But yeah, it exists.
I'll
It
put
barely
I'll
ever
put it in
gets
the
any
show notes.
updates. Like I think you can just, if I remember, I think you can just buy the maps from it. Like you can just if you
that's
want
cool.
them. But they are on there, or you can be like, I don't know, £2 a month for 1 month and just get all of them. I don't know. I can't remember how it's set up. If I'm badly misrepresenting this, it's because I set it up like 2 years ago or something stupid. So I'm vaguely remembering. Or you can just, I don't know, message me on Twitter and be like, hey, do you have a map for this? And I might do. Message me on Twitter. Fuck it. If you want a map, I don't know.
Hell
Great
yeah.
plan. Great plan.
But yeah, closing thoughts. I think Vampire the Masquerade sounds amazing if you do
Also
the
Call
legwork
of
to get into
Cthulhu.
it.
Also,
Yes,
Call of
and Call-
Cthulhu's cool, and probably a
Yes.
lot easier to get into.
I'm probably gonna start running Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah, please
You
do.
would
Sounds
really
fun.
like
Play.
Oh, so you'll play that? You'll make time for that?
Yeah, I want to play some
Final
Call of
thoughts.
Cthulhu.
He doesn't want to DM.
No, that's good. I trust me. I'll run a
Beckett,
game for pretty
trade
much
offer.
anybody. So
Trade offer. I will
No,
get 3 people to
it's
run
not the
Call of
meme.
Cthulhu if you just pick up vampires. Please.
So a woman is on our hands and knees, Beckett.
Oh my god,
Give my monitor,
she's
please.
tasted the crack that is
I'll
vampire.
give you all
She's
the
just like, I
cock
need
you want. Just give me vampire.
it. That's a short. Oh my god. So yeah. Diesel, what are your final thoughts?
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. I just want to go back to negging as Emil. That's really. I'm even wearing a turtleneck today. I've changed my whole.
God.
My fit has changed completely to just embody Emil in every day-to-day life.
It is
Yeah,
really
that's why you
funny.
started
I
the
have
Korean
Verena's hair
skincare.
right now.
Oh my
we're
god.
both here for it, you know.
Yeah. It's
I
embodied.
love the
us.
way this started as criticizing people who are like basically like playing the OC.
I know.
And then they're like, I really want to play my OC.
No,
I'm
not the
shameless about it.
aspirational character.
I showed up to the games. You didn't see it because we didn't have our cameras on, but I was all dressed up. It was so cool. I felt so slave for Vampire the Masquerade.
And you can feel slay by subscribing to Loaded
Oh,
Dice
yeah.
and seeing all of the show notes down below to find
Yeah.
all of our links and go check out our channels and all of our stuff and become completely parasocial with all of us.
Yeah. And also,
please, no.
just yeah,
What?
become parasocial with all of us. 1, but 2, maybe at some point, some live plays. Well, not live plays, but some games coming to channel too.